Yeah, I saw him very briefly in Schiphol. He was just walking to the gate when I was, and I wouldn't have even thought anything of it if it hadn't been that he turned out to be a terrorist.
The underwear bomber, or Umar, is easier to say. Was he wearing that white t-shirt? He looked like a typical American teenager, you'd say?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have even, in the Schiphol airport you assume everyone's foreign, but, there wasn't really anything about him out of place.
Right. And was there anything strange when you boarded the flight? I mean, was it just... were you sitting next to, someone you knew, or? Yeah, no, I was flying by myself. My dad had gone back to the States about a month before I had, so I was just flying by myself. And there really wasn't anything odd about the flight at all until the incident actually happened. How long was the flight? Like, what was the normal?
It was about, I think it's a 9-10 hour flight, something like that.
Okay. And how far into it did you get before it happened?
We were already in the landing.
So you were landing, right?
Yeah, we weren't actually, we were in descent for landing, and we were probably in pattern behind a few other planes before that happened, but we were, ready to land in Detroit.
So could you re-describe it? I mean, were you listening to headphones, or were you reading a book?
Yeah, well,
just from your perspective.
Right, at that point, it was in the thing where it's like, turn off all your electronic devices, seats upright, tray tables up, and so I was just kind of sitting there chatting with the guy next to me a little bit, and so it was actually, if he had done it over this ocean when everyone was listening to their iPods and sleeping and napping and stuff, he might have succeeded, but everyone in the plane was awake and ready to land and go through customs and all that. So, I was just kind of sitting there, and when the first pop happened was, that was a little bit weird because it was really loud, and when you hear something like that on an airplane, your first thought is, uh-oh. But everyone else, I kind of looked around and everyone else was kind of looking around, but nothing really seemed to miss. And then about a minute later is when the actual people saw the fire and everyone started screaming, and there were the other explosions from, it sounded like firecrackers, whatever it was.
What were the flames like? Were they orange, or were they a certain color? I'm not a demolitions expert, but I'm just curious how that...
I would say it almost looked like, my initial thought was that some, smart kid brought some fireworks on the plane and was setting those off, because before you could actually see the flames, there were flashes of orange, orange and red, kind of like a fireworks display, and it wasn't until a little bit after that that the actual flames caught on to the side of the plane or the seat. Some people said he had a blanket on fire, and then those were just regular flames.
So did you get to see his injuries? Were his legs burned, or the seat burned, or did you get to notice that at all?
By the time he had any burns or anything like that, he was already pretty well locked down and dragged to the front of the plane, so I didn't actually see his injuries.
And to compare and contrast, you remember the shoe bomber, they called him?
Yeah.
And he was trying to light a shoe on fire. His behavior was erratic, and he smelled bad, he was sweating, he was really nervous, and of course, he didn't succeed in doing what he was trying to do. And then this guy,